Game 3 last night went the way I told you it was going to go. The Boston Celtics take care of business, up 3-0 now, and the series is all but over. Let's go down to Dallas, Texas right now, where my main man, Mr. Tim Anthony Aloysius Hardaway Sr. is sitting by. I'm sure it's a tough night for Timmy. Obviously his son plays for the Dallas Mavericks, and last night was their shot to get back into the series. Timmy, good morning. How you doing, pal?
Good morning. Good morning. Everything's good. Man, it was a tough night. It was a very tough night last night. And once, you've been right this whole playoffs series.
Yeah, I
in
nailed
the playoffs. But once, you nailed it.
Well, that's what an aficionado does, as you know, Tim.
Once out of 2 months.
Whatever it takes.
Good.
Let's get to some specifics from the game. The big storyline nationally right now is Luka. And the fact that he fouls out of a finals game. Obviously, that's number one. And number two, kind of as a follow-up to what we talked about the last couple of days here on our show, him being really a traffic cone defensively. You were sitting on the wood last night. First off, your thoughts on the last foul of the game, the one right there that we're looking at on the monitor, which I thought was a good call that fouled him out. What's your overall take on Luka in these finals?
Well, first of all, if Jaylen Brown didn't fall, they wouldn't have called that foul on Luka Dončić. So when he failed, they had to call the foul on him. And Jason used his only challenge to try to say that he didn't foul him. But, yeah, everybody knew in the building that he fouled him. And when they were showing it on the video, everybody was like, oh, Lord. And you know what? In the finals game, you down 3. Okay, with 5 minutes left to go, you down 3. Your team needs you, okay? And you can't foul out this game.
Right.
Luka, you cannot take a chance on a foul. You gotta play defense, let him go, let somebody else pick him up, and you got to try to get the rebound, but you cannot foul out in the game that y'all needed, and you was only down 3 with 5 minutes left to go.
Yeah, they made a great comeback. Like, you give them credit. They could have just gone to bed last night, after that huge, Celtic run, like 22 to 6 run, whatever it was. Yeah. And they fought back. You have respect for the fact that they fought back. Kyrie, of course, had a much better night scoring the basketball. But I think this is going to be a bit of a legacy moment for Luka Dončić, in the fact that they haven't won a game in these finals yet. Most people, I think, at this point are going to predict the sweep on Friday night, and it doesn't go back to Boston. We'll obviously wait to see what happens there. But, here's Luka Dončić in a big moment, biggest game of his NBA career at home, and doesn't get the job done defensively, and also showed a very small basketball IQ in picking up that 6th foul. How much does this affect his legacy, in your opinion?
It don't affect his legacy at all. Look at LeBron James when they played against the San Antonio Spurs. And I think it was his 3rd year, something like that, 3rd or 4th year. They should have made a lot of San Antonio Spurs that played against LeBron said they shouldn't even been in the finals because they wasn't ready to be in the finals. But Luka and Dallas, they deserved to be in the finals because they took the hardest path to get there. But, last night it was, they had to have it and they didn't get it. I'm going to tell you this. In the first quarter, middle of the first quarter, Boston was down, I think they were still down about 15 points. And Jrue Holiday got them together. And he had a little huddle after a foul and before they shot the free throws. And I guess he said something like, yo, man, let's stop the BS. Let's come out here and play the way we know how to play. Let's start passing the ball right. Let's start playing good defense like we're supposed to play good defense. And let's get back in this game. At the end of the first quarter, it was 31-30.
Right.
Okay, 31-30. And then, everybody talking about Tatum. Tatum said, I love game 3 of a series. That's when I take over game 3 of series. And that's what he did. He came out and he played a superb game. Everybody talking about his shooting, talking about, he's not shooting the ball well. Well, last night he was shooting the ball very well. He took it to the hole very well. He made plays like he normally made plays. And, him and Brown just really took over the game. Jrue Holiday, he played his steady game. Derek White played his steady game. But those 4 guys, man, and Jayson Tatum and Brown, man, they came out, did what they supposed to do, and showed them, look, even though y'all got up, we got our composure back, and we back in the game, and we here to win this game.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk a lot about Tatum. This is Tim Hardaway Sr. down in Dallas. He was at the game last night here on the Carton Show. And I was thinking about this driving into work today. And I know people are going to overreact to what I'm about to say, so just let me say it, and then you guys can poke holes in it all you want. It looks like the Boston Celtics are going to be champions, 2024 champions. No one's ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the finals. So let's anoint them for a moment as NBA champions, okay? Whether Tatum's the MVP or Brown or Drew Holiday, that'll come out in the wash Friday.
They don't care.
Right, I know they don't.
But
here's my point. As you and I were talking about yesterday, Tatum to me is one of the most underappreciated superstars in the NBA because he hasn't won that title yet. And I'm going to go on a limb here and ask you this question by making a statement to you. When the Celtics finish the Mavericks off and become NBA champions this year, I think you can start having the conversation that Jayson Tatum, maybe even Jaylen Brown, become top 10 Celtics of all time. And you're talking about a franchise will now have 18 titles. And I'm not saying he's Russell or Bird or Kuzi or Havlicek, but I am saying when you talk about Paul Pierce being one of those guys, Kevin Garnett arguably being in that conversation, that when their careers are over, they very well might go down as two of the 10 greatest Celtics of all time.
I don't know about the 10 greatest Celtics. You forgot a couple of other guys, Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale.
Sure.
Nate Tiny Archibald, Dennis Johnson. It's a lot of guys that came through Boston, and better than I do because you've been on the East Coast, that it's a lot of great Celtics that played in different eras for the Celtics. So top 10, I think that's kind of tough. Top 20, yes. Or top 15, yes. But top 10, that's kind of tough.
Let me ask you this, because you'll be in Dallas for Game 4, obviously, tomorrow night. Do you think Dallas has any fight left in them, or especially Luka, or do you think this is a wrap Friday night?
I think Dallas has some fight, but they got to win the game. It's a 48-minute game. And you could tell that Boston is focused. They are really, really, really focused. And we don't give Missoula a lot of credit. I was talking to some people, and they was telling me that, Missoula gets on Jayson Tatum, gets on Jaylen Brown, and telling them, one more pass. They go through film and be like, hey, what we doing here? Why are we not making the right pass?
Yeah.
These guys can take constructive criticism and go out there and play the way they're supposed to and win games. And him and his coaching staff does not get enough credit. And who don't get enough credit? Al Horford. Al Horford, everybody say he's 38, 37. He's on his last leg, but he keeps impressing us each day and each game. And, Luka, this is going to be a big lesson for him to understand. Look, man, you got to leave the referees alone.
Yeah, you got to stop yelling at the refs.
You got to stop yelling at the refs because the refs control the game.
Yep.
And you got to be in the game for your team to win. When you are focusing on the referees, you're not focusing on the game. You're trying to have the referees call calls for you, and you making bad plays. You're not concentrating on making shots. This is the NBA Finals. So I hope he takes, after this series over with, I hope he takes a long look at himself, and I hope he listens to the constructive criticism. It's not criticism to make him look bad. It's constructive criticism so he can learn from his mistakes and go out there and improve his game. He's a hell of a basketball player, But if you don't do what you are supposed to do and listen and go out there and do what you have to do, like play defense.
Yep.
Yes, you got to get down. You got to get down in the defensive stand. I was looking at them. They was really picking on Luka last night. I mean, game three was, game 2 was like, yeah, you saw it. But last night they was really, really, really picking on Luka. They made it their point to go at Luka.
They sure did.
And,
we're going to show more of that coming up as well. And unfortunately, they're yelling at me to say goodbye to you, that you look like you need some sleep. So I'm about
to go get a workout. I'm about to go get a workout.
We'll talk to you tomorrow again, Timmy, as we get ready for Game 4. We'll get your thoughts on Jerry West tomorrow as well, because I know you had a relationship with the Jerry West. Appreciate you as always.
Tough.
And we'll get you tomorrow morning again. Appreciate Tim Hardaway Sr. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.